All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
Leah. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you this morning?
Doing well. Thank you. It's good to have you
Yes,
back again.
it's going to be fun to be here because we're going to talk about something that I have been looking forward to for a long, long, long time. And it feels like a lot longer than it really has been. We're going to talk about my third time's a charm trip this time. Uh,
Perfect.
the ultimate South Pacific.
Mhm.
Rachel, this is one of those trips that everybody has heard me talking about since, believe it or not, 2019.
Mhm.
I mean, can you believe it? It's been that long.
Feeling a little
But
deja vu here, but
I know,
this is the
I
real
know. You know,
deal.
I always say third time's a charm, and this is going to be third time's a charm. I should be coming to you right now from Cairns,
Oh,
Australia. You know, can you believe it? From the Glen down under, and instead I am coming to you from Urbandale, Iowa.
but there's light at the end of the tunnel because next year we'll
Oh, I
see.
know. I know we are excited. Uh, we are looking at what I just talk about the Australia trip, but it's really the ultimate South Pacific because it's
Mhm.
Australia, New Zealand, and some time in Fiji. Um, a trip that we originally planned and looked for and waited to get an itinerary that Terry and I wanted again. Uh, and 2019. But one of the other good parts about this in our brave new world is the fact that our price is from 2019. Now, I couldn't go out and buy gas or milk or anything the
Mhm.
way prices have been going up at a price
Mhm.
from 2019 nowadays. And because of the fact with the situation in our world, we have been able to not only roll the trip, but the insurance pricing back and kept our price from 2019 for a trip in 2023.
And
Uh,
Maria, you've been in the travel
unheard of.
industry for quite some time. That's pretty unheard of, right?
That's very much so the way rates are going up. I mean, not only at the grocery store, but when we stop and think about hotels and airlines and everything with pricing going up, and here we are able to go to uh, our bucket list place for 30 days at a price from 2019. So we are uh, upset that we're not there right now and unhappy that we couldn't get into the country. But on the other side, actually overjoyed and enthusiastic that it maybe is going to be a chance that a few others can join our happy group that's going because of the fact that they are never going to see a deal like this again.
Right, right.
Yeah. And Terry's excited. He hasn't been in Sydney since Uncle Sam sent him there in the 70s. So
Oh,
he's going to be glad to get back and see that opera house again down the road.
oh, you bet. You bet.
So anyway, I met with Mandy McCarthy and we did some visiting about the trip to show everybody. I hope it comes through good for everybody because it's a little hard in this day and age with computers, and I was in the middle of putting in a new laptop the day we recorded it. So let's go ahead and play the visit that I had with Mandy, Rachel, and let everybody hear about this great trip. And then we'll talk in a few minutes.
Good morning. Thank you for being here with me this morning, Maria. It's so wonderful to see your face and hear your voice, and I can't wait till we get to actually meet in person after working together for a couple years now.
I know it. It's kind of strange, isn't it? We've been trying to get to Australia for more than a couple years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you hanging in there for your traveler is going to prove to be very beneficial financially. This will be the best deal in travel when you go in April of next year. I can't believe the pricing on this. And you were able to secure the same insurance pricing, deposit, everything for Fiji is at the same cost it would have been in 2019. So
I know. I've been saying third time's a charm and fourth time, 4 years on the pricing. So I took a look at this. I tell you, Mandy, I cannot believe the deal we're getting for that length of time. And we've had a couple changes in the way the itinerary is going to run. Same things are in there and offered to us. But with some changes, it looks like it's going to be all the better for us.
Absolutely, yes. Thanks to that reverse of the itinerary, you're able to go start in Melbourne, and then you're going to have direct flights from the US instead of starting in Cairns, which would require a connection on Australia. So this was already, the best Australia itinerary, and it's thanks to us having an office down there in Australia. We've got a product design team and an office down there, which it's hard to do business with a country that's had the restrictions and had things close, of course. But thanks to our team down there on the ground in Australia, we've been able to make some wonderful changes to this tour to make it even better. But yes, it's going to be an incredible adventure, and you can see here on this first slide that we've got 27 days, 37 meals. We actually have Fiji is added, included in this adventure. So we're going to be looking at, I believe it's 31 days. Is that what you have, hun?
30 or 31. Actually, we're going to be going mid-April to mid-May this next year. We're leaving April 15th and coming back May 14th.
That's right.
So we're going to have everything there, and I think the nice thing, especially with those longer flights, is going to be those 3 days of downtime coming home in Fiji, just to back it up and relax and go. So tell us a little bit more about this tour and about the changes and things on it, Mandy.
You betcha. Well, with that reversal starting there, of course, you're able to take that one flight. It's over 20 hours to get there, and then you're just going to be able to start your adventure here. And you can see you're starting in Melbourne instead, which just gives such a better flow. And you can see this is such a comprehensive tour. It's called the Complete South Pacific for a reason, because it is covering all the must-see sites. And one of the most beautiful things about this adventure is, first of all, you're not having a bunch of one-night stays. You can see here that you've only got 4 of those. And that's to make sure that you're seeing the areas, the rural part, that Uluru. You're able to go into the outback and have these adventures here, but also be able to have time, in the Barossa Valley and a couple nights in Melbourne, and those 3 nights in Sydney just really helps the pacing of the tour, so you're able to relax and soak up the region and not be so on the run. But yeah, like you said, with Fiji at the end of this adventure, that is truly a beautiful conclusion to this. It is truly an adventure, a once in a lifetime experience. So this is really going to allow everybody to see the very best of both the countries, what they have to offer, and at the best pacing. And our tour managers are just incredible. A lot of them are based here in Australia and New Zealand, or live half the time. I know one of our tour managers who lives half of the time in Ireland and half the time in Australia. What a lifestyle!
I know. Well, and those that travel with Tara and I know too that we pick itineraries that if we're going to go, and I looked it up. It's from Des Moines into Melbourne. It's 9,366 miles. Yeah, you say 20 hours. It's a long flight. You get up and walk a lot. But they know that if we're going to go someplace, especially with those longer flights, we're going to make sure we see everything those countries have to offer.
That's right.
It's a lengthy time, but if you're going to go, you need to put everything into those tours that you can, and you certainly have offered that to us.
Absolutely, yes. And there's, everything is included in this. You're not going to come back and someone's not going to say, "Oh, did you see this?" You were to say, "Yes, you checked all the boxes." But you also got free time, so that if you want a day to soak up the region, or just soak up the amenities of your hotel room, and just take some time to be present and take in the atmosphere and a big deep breath, you have those times included in this. And I love that. It's so important to have some downtime to just breathe, because like I said before we got on, this is like another planet and just such a once in a lifetime adventure. And like I said, at the very best pricing here. Of course, this is where your tour opens up in Melbourne. You're going to be on the shores of Port Phillip bay, and the Yarra River. And you're going to, of course, every time you go into a city, you're going to have a local guide that's going to give you a tour. So you're going to have this panoramic tour of Melbourne. You're going to see these Fitzroy Gardens.
I'm anxious to see those.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It's going to be so beautiful to see the different flora and fauna of the region, and especially to have a local expert telling you what you're looking at is so powerful. So then when you do have your free time on your own here, you're going to be able to navigate it, and you're already going to have a background of the city, and you're going to have your local guides being able to say, hey, on your free time, check out this restaurant or go see this, so that you're not wasting any time getting lost or wandering, although sometimes getting lost on vacation leads to some of the best experiences. So you'll have that city tour, and then before you head to Phillip Island, you're going to see the koalas in their natural setting at a conservation center, and then you'll head to the world's largest colony of the little penguins, and you're going to see these little sweethearts. Oh gosh, aren't they so blue? They're just beautiful and such a treasure here. And of course, they're protected and studied by rangers. So you can keep that in mind anytime we have an excursion out on tour. We're really taking the animals' safety and quality of life into mind. So we never have anything included that isn't protected, and to make sure that these little sweethearts and very inquisitive little birds, they're very curious. So they don't necessarily run from you. They're going to be waddling out to sea and cross the beach to their burrows. And that's just such a treasure to be able to see while you're in Melbourne. Now, after that adventure in Melbourne, you're going to be flying to Hobart, Tasmania, which is just such a unique experience. This is Australia's second oldest city. So it's an island state of Australia, and it's surrounded by more than 300 isles. I had no idea Australia being such a massive country, and then all these different isles to explore. So it's special that you get to see Tasmania. It's going to be very rugged, and there's this pristine beauty backdrop. You're going to be there for 3 nights. So then you get an opportunity to choose whether you want to do the walking tour in the morning or the afternoon. So it's nice to be able to say, hey, I'm going to sip my coffee and soak up my surroundings, or head off first thing in the morning so that you have a little more time to relax during the day. All of these choices can be made closer to departure or even on tour with these different choices on tour. So you get to see the Tasmanian Devil Conservation Center. These are marsupials, and then you'll hear all about the conservation of these little sweethearts and its fight for survival. So of course they're doing their best to preserve their culture and all their unique animals to this region. You're going to
and again, you add Tasmania into the tour, which is one of the things we were looking for. Just because we wanted to, if you're going to be down there, you've got to go to Tasmania.
Absolutely, yes, to see all the must-sees. It's so important. So you're going to see the Port Arthur Historic Site, which is where the original penal colonies were. So some of the best preserved colonies are here. You're going to get a tour of that. And then you're also going to see these rock formations, they're coastal rock formations. Tasman Ark, Devil's Kitchen, and then you're going to have that free day to explore Tasmania on your own. So that's going to be so nice to be able to indulge in the cafe culture. It's to have a cup of coffee there and just sit and soak up the harbor, take some time to relax, whatever you'd like to do. It's so fun that you're going to have this adventure, and then you have certain days where you can kind of research and see what's going to pique your interest in the region. So then you're off to Adelaide. This, of course, is South Australia. It's a bustling cosmopolitan capital, and you're going to be staying here for 2 nights. And of course, seeing the Barossa Valley, well known among wine connoisseurs. They've got everything from Chardonnays to Pinot Noirs. You're going to be going to Seppeltsfeld Winery. You're going to have a private tour and tasting of their world-class wines. And of course, it'll have a pairing of different local delicacies with your wine there at the winery. winery, and you get to meet the owners, and they'll tell you the story of the history of the winery, which is just such a special experience that you get to have with us at Colette. And then after that experience, off to Uluru. Of course, you're going to be seeing, that's the Aboriginal name for Ayers Rock, which is in the outback. It's so important to be able to go out into the rural area of Australia and see these sandstone domes. And you also get to see Katahuta, which is surrounding the base of the rock. These are those domes. And then you get to toast Uluru with a glass of champagne and see sunset here, which will just be so beautiful to be able to see the colors change with the setting sun.
I've already signed up to ride a camel. Uluru.
Oh my God.
I'm going to ride the camel out the rock.
I'm
so excited.
You must do that. Do add that on so you can do that with Maria. And then when you head to Cairns, you're going to be heading to the gateway of the Great Barrier Reef. So before your departure, of course, you can have that camel ride and take in Uluru at sunset. And then here in Cairns, you're going to be able to ride the Skyrail Rainforest Cableway. And I love these inclusions on our tour. It's so nice, of course, to get that local guide taking you around through Cairns and giving you the scoop on the region and its history and its culture. But it's so powerful to be able to see the region from the sky, because you can really get a lay of the land and really embrace your tropical surroundings here. So to ride that awesome cableway rather. And then you'll be able to soak up some of the beautiful tropical surroundings with a local naturalist. They're going to walk you through these boardwalks here. And then you're going to be boarding a glass-bottom catamaran and sail to the low isles of the Great Barrier Reef. And then this day, you've got several different included activities that you can take part in. You can soak up the sun on a tiny remote island located along the outer reef, or you can snorkel in the waves here, seeing, of course, this vibrant sea life that is just such a treasure on our planet. There's nothing like this in the world. You also can meet with a local marine biologist, or you can do an expert trail walk along the island. So lots of different ways to experience this special part of our world. So many treasures. I had some clients that went down to Costa Rica, and they were asking where the reefs were. They were surprised when they did their snorkeling because they had just done Australia in 2019. I just said, there's nothing like the Great Barrier Reef, and that seeing that
Spoils you.
Yes,
It spoils you for anything else.
And we deserve to be spoiled.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Then you'll be flying to Sydney. And what an adventure in itself this awesome city is. I know I read Anthony Bourdain, his final book, which he was such a treasure, but and I won't use his words to describe the culinary experiences.
Probably not. Yeah.
He used a little profanity in expressing his love for some parts of the world, but Sydney is one of his favorite culinary adventures that you can have. So that'll be in itself just being able to soak up the culture of Sydney. Of course, you've got the Harbour Bridge that you're going to see, King's Cross, Chinatown. We're going to be taking you through the rocks, the Circular Quay, the botanical gardens. You've got more gardens to experience, Maria. And then you'll take a guided tour of the Sydney Opera House. And then did you choose that performance at the Sydney Opera House?
It's one of the optionals that we're going to offer to people if they want to do it.
Wonderful.
They can do a performance. Yeah, we won't know what the performance is, but they can do dinner and performance at the Opera House if they wish as an optional tour.
Wonderful. So you also see the presentation at the National Collection. Yes, have to purchase some of those for yourself. And then, as I mentioned, there is that optional dinner and performance at the Opera House that evening. And we'll have more information as it approaches regarding what performance will be there. And then, of course, the next day you'll be flying to New Zealand after some free time in Sydney. You'll arrive in the City of Sails. You'll have a city tour, of course, of New Zealand. It's going to be such a comprehensive tour, including the Cup Village, the War Memorial. You'll see Queen Street, the Auckland Harbour Bridge, and all of the spectacular views from the harbor. So after that experience, you'll be heading to Rooa's dramatic geothermal landscape. And this is another treasure that you get to experience kind of off the beaten path, because you really get to see the culture of this region, because you're meeting with the Maoris. And I'll tell you more about that here in a second. But after seeing that geothermal landscape and hearing about the culture and the history and the different details from a local naturalist, you get to go to Te Pua, which is where you get to see the culture come to life by traditional carving and weaving. You'll meet some of the locals. And then also you get to go to the Agrodome and see a sheep shearing demonstration. And you'll learn about, and this looks like the tallest sheep in the land. He must be. Our sheep's incredibly tiny.
Yeah.
But it's so important to learn about the culture and the different agriculture and the importance to the region. So you really feel like you get to make this country your own. And then you'll be heading to Wellington, which is New Zealand's capital, in the southernmost city in the country. And I love how you do get to do this ride to the top to be able to see the city from a different perspective. You're going to see St. Paul's Church.
Well, and the North Island and the South Island are going to be so different when we hit New Zealand.
Absolutely, yes, and flying from place to place. That's all included in this. When everyone sees the price on here, they're going to ask, "Are flights included?" Because everything's included, so you're not having to travel. It's such a massive area that we want to make sure that you're zipping to those places that you need to see, and then moving on from there, and not spending all your time in a coach. So that's important. So you're going to see St. Paul's Church, the old government building, and the Museum of New Zealand as well. And of course, the Cook Strait. This is so incredible. This is considered the most beautiful ferry ride in the world. So you're going to cross this Cook Strait and head to Christchurch, which is the Garden City, and this beautiful experience. I mean, I don't want to pass on through that too quickly, because that just crossing that strait is going to be such an incredible experience. I just want to freeze time for you all as you travel through there. And Christchurch is such a treasure, known as the Garden City. You're going to have a tour of this city's gardens and learn about the Quake City exhibition, rather. And then this evening you get to meet with a Kiwi family for a home-hosted dinner. And they'll tell you about their traditions and what day-to-day life is like there. And they're always so warm and welcoming and so happy to tell you their stories. And it's just so precious to be able to meet some locals and hopefully make some friends. If this isn't going to be your only adventure in this region, hopefully you can come back once you see everything this area has to offer, and soak up some more that the country has, especially with the locals there. So then you're off to Mount Cook National Park. This is such a famous national park, and it's really just an alpine paradise. So many different perspectives of nature that you get to see. You'll have a nature walk, and then you can also take part in an optional glacier flight scene tour, or you can just soak up the atmosphere with your local travelers. And then you're off to Queenstown, which is the adventure capital of the world. And you'll see Milford Sound. This will be such an incredible experience.
So that is just absolutely gorgeous.
It is so beautiful. Look at the water, and it's just pristine and peaceful. and just taking a big deep breath right here is going to be an incredible experience. So you'll be heading on a cruise. You'll be going through Hollyford Valley and traveling through a beach forest through the Homer Tunnel. And of course, this fjord is one of the most visited sites on the South Island. And then you have a free day in Queenstown. Of course, so many different activities. This is the adventure capital of the world, so there's going to be lots of options that you can take part in. You can enjoy a tour of the Gold Seeker Metal and Movie Discovery. And I've heard great things about this tour. This is something that you can add on. There's so many movies that were taped here. This will give you a history of all the blockbuster movies that have been taped in this region. And then, of course, before departing Fiji, you're going to have a beautiful farewell dinner with your fellow travelers heading to Fiji for such a relaxing tropical experience. I've heard that the Fijians are the kindest people on earth. Have you heard that, Maria? That they've just
very, very welcoming, and just it's going to be a good layback. Our hotel's going to have some offers if anybody wants to get ambitious and do some things. They can certainly find something there at the concierge desk. But Terry and I are looking at just laying back, enjoying that water and those beaches, and just soaking up the atmosphere in Fiji on the beach, kind of unwind from a busy, quite a few days, a busy month before we head home.
Absolutely. This is such a beautiful experience that you have included for your travelers. And I just think that's the perfect conclusion to such an adventure in Australia and New Zealand. Like you said, you get to see everything in the most efficient way with time to soak up each city and rural area that you get to experience. So keep in mind, there are several different ways to make this your own. And do touch base with Maria and or Rhonda about any of the extras that you can add on to your adventure. Keep in mind, this experience has insurance that you can purchase. And it's only $3.99. Now, keep in mind, y'all, Maria and Rhonda got the best pricing, not only on the tour, but on the insurance as well. This is costing $4.99 for everybody else right now. And I'm sure it's going to go up. Everything is going up.
Everything has gone up.
Yes.
Everything.
Absolutely. So keep that in mind. You are covered with that $3.99. You can cancel up to 24 hours before departure and receive all of your money back minus that $3.99. 24 hours before departure, you can receive that refund, which is just truly an unrivaled, insurance policy. So keep that in mind, that you're protected for whatever this wild, big, beautiful world may be handing us. But you can also receive a full refund all the way up until October of this year. So you can secure your spot on this tour and also receive a full refund up until October 17th. So you can secure your space with no commitment. And this is just, like I said, such an incredible price.
Well, we've got the price from, I say 2019 because that's when we originally started booking this. But that plus the $500, plus the airfare that's been held at at almost a 4-year back price. You're never going to find anything like this again.
I guarantee you. Absolutely. Yes, that's so true. And we do have an office in Australia. So that is what gives us the power to be able to have, these partners there in both the countries. And on to Fiji as well, that we're able to secure these wonderful, beautiful 4-star hotels and make sure that we have all the best local guides. And it's important to have people on the ground there working, with these partners and make sure that you all have the very best experience for the very best price. So I'm so excited for you guys.
I know. Rhonda does have the brochures.
Yes.
The office, so those that are interested, be sure you give her a buzz and she'll get a brochure out to her. That toll-free number for the Northland office is 694-8687. Or just swing by and stop in and visit with her about it. Like I said, get a brochure or let me know. Zip me an email, or those of you that have my cell phone, give me a text and hit the Facebook page, and we will get that information right out to you. Because on top of everything else, you do not want to miss out on that extra $500 off.
Absolutely.
You know, that $500 off is going to pay for a lot of optional tours.
Yes, absolutely.
That or your insurance, you know, it's going to cover both. So don't miss that extra savings.
Absolutely. Yep. The best deal in travel. And this is the most comprehensive adventure to see Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji. So I'm so excited for you all. I'm truly living through you, and just can't wait for this adventure, this long awaited adventure, where the patience is certainly paying off.
Yeah. And Mandy, we so appreciate you visiting with me today and visiting about the tour and showing us some fun pictures and talking about it. And I wish you could go to the land down under with us.
It's absolutely. Oh, it's certainly my pleasure. And yeah, at this pricing, I need to try to make it happen because, like you said, this is just isn't something that is going to be able to have happen again at this pricing. I'm hearing hotels going up 30%. I'm coming out to Des Moines here in a couple weeks, and a lot of the hotels that were running for $99 a night are now at $140 a night just in Des Moines. So I'm seeing it across the board. So please do. I hope everyone takes advantage of this awesome pricing for an incredible adventure with Maria and Terry, and go see to see the kangaroos and all of the nature and the wildlife in this part of our big beautiful world. And it's very south, away from all the drama that's happening. So you're safe and sound with some of the most beautiful people on earth. So it'll be an incredible experience. I'm so excited, and I'm grateful to be here with you. Thank you for taking the time. Yes, and have a beautiful rest of your day.
I appreciate it.
Okay, wow, Maria.
Sounds great. Yeah, we had a little bit of an echo, and I apologize to everybody for that. It's kind of, between techie things and me trying to get a new laptop installed at the same time we were doing it. And everybody knows I'm not techie, so we just kind of, I rely on you, Rachel, and everybody else that knows what they're doing. But it gives you a good hint. When I first saw the change for this year, I went, wait a minute, what's going on? And then I looked and I thought, well, wait a minute, did we lose anything? We did not. The change in our itinerary is simply the fact we're going the opposite direction. We're going north to south in New Zealand rather than South Island to North Island. But the fact that we don't have to change planes and do one more flight change is always a blessing in this day and age, especially as heavy as my backpack always is when I'm going back and forth with it. They've offered us some great prepaid options for some extra optional tours. In fact, like I said, I'm going to have dinner with the Maori. I'm going to ride that camel early in the morning at sunrise on Siuluru. They're going to do, a Gold Seeker. So we've got the movie tour where they filled a lot of the movies for optionals, another reef experience, of course, dinner and a performance. Those that want to be at the Opera House to say they've done that and mark it off their bucket list. I'm big on bucket lists. There's a food safari. There's a visual, I don't know how to explain it. There's something called Antarctica, the Seventh Continent. It's just a short, feel like you're there kind of an experience thing. We did it in Iceland. One's very similar to it. We're going to do that just because, of course, we're going to Antarctica in 2024. So we want to be sure we're hyped for this. With it, but they've got some new options, and the difference with that insurance with the $500 off, the insurance held at a 2019 price. Terry and I were able to save enough with our $500. We took care of our insurance and 2 of our optional tours.
I mean, that's such a good point too.
With the savings, things we would have done anyway. We just marked them off, and it was that extra savings that we put towards that. Like I said, one good thing about about having this rolled over is the fact that we've had a couple more years to save that Social Security to put towards the pricing on it. So they've
and
done
more added value to that trip too.
well, and
definitely.
even if anybody doesn't want to do an optional, and every company, of course, offers us some optionals. Even if you don't want to do that, we have got so much included. So very many things included in this with it. Hopefully everybody's going to feel like we've done the best we can to get you that good overview. The only place we're not.
I mean, and also such a great point about the airfares and, the hotels and all of that pricing has just continued to increase these last few years. And here you are, stayed the same.
Yeah, it kind of goes ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. And, Australia is a huge country. People don't sometimes realize how large that island continent of our 7 continents is. And it's the internal airfare, not only the over the water, but the internal airfares on that type of thing can add up very quickly. We know how much it is just Des Moines to Chicago here. And so those internal airfares add up too, and the fact that we were able to get everything included for you, so you know where your main costs are. I have had some questions. Yes, there are going to be visas required for both Australia and New Zealand, and Rhonda will be able to take care of those right at the office. So not a problem. Passports have to be valid a minimum of 6 months beyond our return date, which would be mid-May. We've managed to kind of we've pushed ourselves right in between holidays and graduations and things in there with it. So hopefully it's going to make it easy for people, back and forth to be traveling with us on it. Now, remember also, we're going to be in the Southern Hemisphere. So we're in the fall, even though it's April into May, we're going to be in the fall months when we're in Australia. So we're kind of that flip flop of getting the year ahead of us with it. But, brochures are here. Rhonda has them at the office. I have some here. They're great. People can, as I said, you can certainly call the office and get one out right away. Kelly or Rhonda will get out to you. But text
I'm going to go ahead and put that number up here too. Just
please do. Send me a Facebook message or a text. Those of you that have my cell, and we'll get it out to you right away, because it'll be on this will be on the Northland Facebook page, and I'll also put the link over to it on my Facebook page so people can have that option. Those of you that had not had a chance to book yet, and we have had quite a few of these spaces taken because we are limited on the space. I will be getting new brochures out to you also, and some of you that have already contacted me, bear with me. I will get those brochures out to you in between trips here, because we're starting out on our spring trips now with everything going on. So, it's looking good. Did enter the question. Yes, you are going to have to be vaccinated at this present time and boosted to go and get into the country. As you all know, those rules are changing daily. So, what's valid this minute by supper tonight may not be, and could be changing again. So, but that is where we are at the present time, or at the time of this recording.
And no worries as far as that goes as well, because, Maria, Rhonda, everyone's on top of what different countries are requiring, and, we'll make sure all of those, T's are crossed and I's are dotted. So.
Everything's, like I said, everything's on as I say, brave new world basis, but fun new world, because things are opening up very rapidly right at the present time. And even though with our world situation, tours are going, and we're hitting places we've been. And like I said, this is the tip of the iceberg for what's coming up for us for international travel. You and I visited about that on our last broadcast. And like I said, it's just tip of the iceberg of where we're headed and what's coming up for us in this next couple of years. So we're excited to be back on the road again, and and fill my backpack, and take the aspirin for the extra shoulders, and and off we go. It's again, Rhonda's number is 877-694-8687 to Northland. give us a buzz. We'll be more than happy to get these flyers out to you. And thanks to all those that have booked, that have hung in with us this last couple years. You're getting the bargain of a lifetime right now, and everybody else has a chance to cash in on that and really get the bargain with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you all so much for joining us. Merlia, as always, thank you for sharing your trip, sharing your enthusiasm for travel, and especially for sharing your bucket list trips with us.
We're headed there. We're
You
headed
bet.
there.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you all.